Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, the show that this is the 99th episode of.
99?
Well, 99 if you don't count the April Fool's Simpsons one, which I don't.
Those are canon.
It's not real. It didn't happen. It was a fever dream.
It felt like a fever dream.
I guess technically we've actually this is the 100th episode we've recorded, if you do count the Simpsons one, which again I don't.
That's too many. We have to stop.
We've been doing this for too long.
I agree. Goodbye.
No, we have to do it again. Play the theme song.
Colonel William Guile, one of the greatest martial artists in the world, travels the global tournament circuit, using it to conceal his top-secret mission as leader of an elite group of international crime fighters known only by their code name, Street Fighters. The heroic man-beast, Blanca, hard-kicking fighting machine, Chun-Li. Most amazing warriors ever seen have joined forces with Guile to combat the criminal empire of Shadaloo and its superhuman leader, Bison. They have their own code of honor, discipline, justice, commitment, and together they will triumph against the forces of evil. Street Fighter!
We're back to fighting on the streets.
It was fighting on the streets, kissing in the sheets.
There was no kissing. Ken and Ryu weren't even here.
Yeah, what was that about? We have looked at episode 2, Strongest Woman in the World. Is this the same opening this show had in episode 1?
You know I can't remember. No, I guess I had gone back to try and find an episode for this week because we couldn't decide. We weren't even sure if we were going to be able to record. I was like, let's just pick something that we haven't watched in a long time. And one of the earlier ones was Mortal Kombat. I was like, we should do a fighting show.
Yeah. So I went back and I looked for the fighting show that we covered the least recently, and it was not Street Fighter. But then I decided, let's just do Street Fighter again.
All this to say, it's been a long time. I can't remember.
Yeah, I recognize the opening visually, but I don't remember. I feel like it did have a narrator. This is from a period when every show just had a narrator that talked over the opening. Such a weird. This is the
90s.
Yeah. They were like, kids aren't going to understand the concept of this show unless we just have a guy talk about it for a minute at the start.
Too high concept.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan of this style of opening.
It feels familiar, but I can't say with any certainty.
I will say I would take this kind of opening over the more modern style of TV show opening, which is no opening. I don't like it when there's no opening.
Well, they expect everyone to be binge-watching from a streaming service now, and everybody just skips the opening.
Well, then let them skip the opening, but there should still be a theme song I can sing. Because then you go out and the theme song's stuck in your head, and you sing it in public, and then someone else is like, what's that song? And you're like, I don't know, Cuphead. And then they go home and they watch Cuphead.
Then they get the song stuck in their head, and they pass it on, and it's a virus that takes over the world.
Exactly, and that's being lost. The viral aspect of our shared viewing experience. No one has songs to sing anymore.
You just sing the same old songs about SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, just just sing the SpongeBob theme, but with the names of different characters.
Ken and Ryu, Ken and Ryu.
Chun-Li and Guile.
Blanca is in the mix too.
Yeah, there we go.
We did it. We fixed television.
Do you want to make a guess at when this episode aired? Of course you don't. Why would you?
I've never once in my life.
What a stupid thing for me to ask. This episode aired October 28th, 1995. Halloween.
Baby!
I mean, it's not actual Halloween, but it's close.
There's a spooky crow in the opening scene.
That's true, it opens on a graveyard. Was that their concession to Halloween programming?
No, their concession is Chun-Li's dead father.
Yeah, the dead white guy that's her father. This episode was written by Richard Stanley, who also wrote for Bonkers, the Aladdin and RoboCop TV shows, and the Problem Child TV show.
I heard that as one show, Aladdin and RoboCop.
Yeah, Disney got weird in the 90s, let me tell you.
I would love it.
He also wrote one episode each of Murder, She Wrote and Walker, Texas Ranger, which I thought was interesting.
It sounds like she didn't write that murder.
Yeah, hang on a minute. If I want consistency, I feel like every writer on Murder, She Wrote should be a woman, actually.
I feel like it should be Angela Lansbury over and over again.
Listen, you got to star in every episode and write every episode.
Sorry, them's the breaks.
I don't know how Murder, She Wrote ended, but if it didn't end with it turning out that Jessica Fletcher was a serial killer, I'm very disappointed.
That is not how cozy mysteries work, and you know it.
It should be how they all end, I think.
Turns out all these deaths happening all around me, my doing. Whoops.
Turns out whenever I closed my eyes, another person woke up in my body and killed.
Those are my visions of blood.
Where do you think I get the ideas from the books from? From my nightmares.
That's a legitimate strategy, I'll have you know.
Oh, I know. But I don't think you've actually been eating people.
Can't confirm or deny.
So this show opens in a graveyard with a spooky crow. I guess, I didn't really think about it at the time. I did think, weird that this graveyard never comes up again. But I guess it's like foreshadowing of how everybody in this town was killed at one point.
Well, there is a graveyard at the end when Chun-Li goes to visit her dad.
I guess. Yeah, alright, you're right. Never mind then. Graveyard. We're in a small Chinese village, which also has a nuclear power plant.
There's a lot of questions left unanswered.
I was immediately just so kind of disoriented by this opening scene, because we pan across a graveyard and then we see this quaint little, Chinese town with all its wooden buildings, and it's clearly, the villagers are clearly dressed, they live in the country. And then the camera pans up to this giant nuclear power plant on the cliff above it. And then when we go up there, there's all these buildings, like city buildings up there.
Right.
Really, really weird.
Really weird. Not only that, but Bison is on the scene, and we never know why he's here.
We do.
What is he doing?
We do get told why he's there, but I had to watch the episode twice to catch it.
Oh, okay.
He's there later on when Escher, remember Escher?
No.
The leader of the Street Fighters, apparently. The guy who gives Guile his missions.
Oh, yeah. You mean who put the sandwiches outside of his door in the shape of the letters SF?
Yes, he tells us that Bison has taken over the power plant and is demanding $10 million. And if he doesn't get it, then he's going to blow it up.
That's lame.
It is lame.
I would have thought that he'd be at a power plant to, steal the energy and use it for his nefarious deeds.
Me too. But no, he's doing some boring, real-life supervillain shit.
Lame.
He can fly around and he can shoot lightning bolts from his eyes, I assume, but this is the best idea he had for today. If you don't give me $10 million, I'll blow up this sleepy Chinese village where everyone's dead.
Do you think Bison put the nuclear power plant here just to spite Chun-Li? He kills her dad and then puts this here so he can later threaten to destroy it.
Wait, is it his?
No.
No. Okay.
But because we see later in Chun-Li's flashback that Bison came to this village and killed her dad.
Yeah. But he put this nuclear power plant here, and then he had his thugs break into it in full, like, masks and everything.
Yeah, he's playing 4D chess.
I love the squealy guitar when he shows up. It's like the squealiest. It's really good.
I want that to be my title, the squealiest.
That is your title. But we only use it when you're mud wrestling.
Like a pig?
Exactly like a pig. I'm glad you went where my mind went, which was to pigs rather than, oiled up women.
Well, when you say squealing and mud wrestling in the same breath.
Yeah, that's where you go.
Straight to the pig pen.
So now we jump to, I guess, a city. I guess it's America.
Yeah, because Guile's here.
Guile.
You wouldn't catch him dead outside of America, not on a mission.
He is in his shitty rundown apartment having flashbacks.
I thought it was so funny that he's having flashbacks to his Wrestle Boy times and not, like, to his Street Fighter missions or presumably the war he's been in.
Did you say Street Fighter?
Did I?
I think you did.
I think I said Street Fighter.
Wait, roll it back. Play that again.
Street Fighter. Don't put me on blast like that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny that he's clearly thinking about his ex that we saw in the first episode.
Oh yeah, he's got her picture and he's fondly caressing it on the bed.
Yeah, but all of the flashbacks he's having are just about some fight he had with some random dudes. Also, him lying on that bed, caressing that photo, I swear, is like a perfect redraw of that Wolverine
The
meme.
Wolverine?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Did you think about that too?
I sure did.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, is that not the exact Wolverine frame, but with Guile instead? The one where he's caressing the picture of, it's Jean Grey, right?
I guess. The one that I remember most fondly is when somebody photoshopped it to be caressing a picture of him in bed caressing the picture.
There's so many good memes with that. Now I want people to make Guile versions of that meme.
They should do
Right.
Wolverine caressing a photo of
Guile caressing a photo of Wolverine. I'm going to try and make that before the episode goes out so I can post it with it. Maybe I'll make that the thumbnail. When somebody knocks at his door, I laughed out loud at the way he answers. Because it's just a simple knock at the door, but he leaps forward like he's going to wrestle the door open.
We get a super extreme close-up of his face, too.
We get a lot of super extreme close-ups of things. Yeah, he answers the door and sees SF spelled out in sandwiches. Which, for me, that answers a question we had about the first episode. Because in the first episode, do you remember there was like a guy in the crowd that hucked a chair at him? And the chair had SF on the back.
Oh, okay,
And I speculated that maybe that guy was there to like send him the message that the SF needed to assemble. And now I think
it's no bat signal.
It's no bat signal, and these sandwiches are much less subtle than the chair was.
But they're also way better.
And they've all got the crust cut off.
Guile doesn't eat crust.
He's too white for that. So yeah, he goes off to meet Escher, and while Escher's talking, we get a really weird shot where it just pans across an extreme close-up of his eyes, and then zooms way in on one of them.
I was mostly just distracted by Cammy in this scene.
Yeah, Cammy just kind of debuts here without much fanfare.
Yeah, and when they introduce her, she's acting all, overly cutesy and winky. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I had to go look up if this is what Cammy is like, because I didn't remember, but it didn't feel right.
Right.
And no, in the game, she's very serious and very... she is noted on the wiki as not getting along particularly well with comic relief characters. Which is funny because here she is.
She's the comic relief character.
Yeah, they've used her as a comic relief character. And I do think that's neat that they did that with a character who is, in the game, she's a sex appeal character, really.
Right.
So I thought it was neat that they took a sex appeal character and made her the comic relief.
I didn't hate that. I just hated the overly cutesy part.
Even if most of the comedy is just coming from the fact that she's English. And she says things weird.
You guys are worth laughing at. Just putting it out there.
So Cammy White is played by Lisa Ann Belay, who played Scarlet in G.I. Joe. She was Chi-Chi in the original dub of Dragon Ball Z. Chi-Chi is, I believe, Goku's girlfriend. She's done a whole bunch of voices in different Gundam shows. And I know her as Aura in Mark of the Ninja, which was a game I liked.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently she's Nika in Invisible Ink, which is a game I'm pretty sure I have, but haven't played yet. So those are fairly new games as well. Well, Mark of the Ninja's not that new anymore. I still think of it as new, because I'm old.
Came out 70 years ago when you were a young spring chicken.
It's got to be 10 years old at least by now, I'm sure.
At least, yeah. Because I've had it in my library for ages, and I went 10 years without buying anything.
Yeah. So Guile is going to China to try and deal with this bison infestation.
And who better to bring with him but their one Chinese friend?
Yeah, the only Chinese person they know, who we see, I guess she's just in, a dojo or something.
It almost seems like she's in the X-Men Danger Room, and it's just she's fighting holograms.
Yeah, I could believe that, to be honest. It's a very nondescript room, and she's fighting two very nondescript guys. I like that she announces her spinning bird kick.
Every time.
Every time.
Spinning bird kick!
And then she announces that she's the strongest woman in the world.
I am the strongest woman in the world!
That's the part I like the best.
I don't know how you measure that.
Well, she's beat up every other woman, obviously.
She's gone up against all of them. You can't get the title until you've fought every woman in the world and come out on top. I don't know if Chun-Li is even the strongest woman in Street Fighter, but...
Yeah, when I first read the name of that, I kind of assumed it was going to be Chun-Li, but I was like, but is it though?
Well, I kind of assumed, when I saw Strongest Woman in the World, I thought that this was going to be the Cammy debut. And it is.
That's what I thought too, but it's not at the same time.
It is the Cammy debut, but the episode doesn't focus on her at all. She's just here.
She's just the wild card that flies the jet.
Yeah, because I don't know. Okay, I don't know about Street Fighter to know if there's canonically a strongest woman in the world in Street Fighter. Maybe it is Chun-Li. I don't know. But if I looked at the cast and I assumed one of these women is calling herself the strongest woman in the world, my mind goes to Cammy. She just has that look about her, right?
Yeah.
Also, Cammy is a clone of M. Bison. Did you know this?
Yes, she is.
I didn't know that.
I don't remember where I heard it, but that's one of the few fun facts I know about Street Fighter.
Yes, one of my friends told me she's a clone of M. Bison who was intended to be his new body when his current body wore out. His mind was going to be transferred into Cammy's body.
Put being a sexy lady this time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going round a few times, you might as well do it once.
I guess. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, you'd get bored. Like, this time I want to be a horse's head on a man's body. Fuck it, make me a dog, make me a little puppy.
Make me an actual bison.
Which one bison is he Vega in Japan?
I can't remember.
No, I can't remember which one. I know there's the shift, the 3 characters traded names, but I never remember the exact order of them. I think he's Vega, and I think Bison was Balrog. And
Vega's the guy with the claws, right?
yeah, I think he was maybe Balrog in Japan, and our Balrog was Mike Bison, and then our Vega became M. Bison. I think that's the order. It's like rock, paper, scissors. Guile tries to recruit Chun-Li for the mission, and she says no, and then she says yes.
She's like, why? Is it because I'm Chinese? And he's like, yes, actually.
Also, you're from the specific town that we're going to.
Right! I do like how she rejected him, though. She's like,
Go get a map.
I like how she agreed to go.
Guile! When do we leave?
It was as though she had been asked to clean up a spill that wasn't hers.
I mean...
And she was agreeing to do it because she just didn't want the argument.
She didn't want to have to go back and face the town her father died in.
Yeah, and then when we see them on the plane, and Blanca's on the plane, he's just there now.
Am I wrong in thinking that I thought they left Blanca in Brazil in the last episode?
No, I think it had this show is full of people having, like, sudden changes of heart.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure Blanca had one in the previous episode. I think it was I think he had a moment where he was like, "You guys are nothing but trouble. Me like trouble." Something like that.
For 10 years, I got into nothing but trouble hanging around with you. Any sane person would stay 1,000 miles away. Count me in.
Basically, Guile spent the whole episode trying to convince him to join them, and he was saying no. And then at the very end, he was like, "Actually, yes."
I remember a change of heart at the last second.
Because Blanca almost died in the first episode, right? Didn't he get some kind of sickness?
Yeah. Whatever disease Bison was wafting about.
Street farters.
Was it just Ryu that got it?
I think
when they were clowning around.
I think Ryu got it. And then Blanca's blood was the cure or something.
That's right. Blanca beat it.
That's right. Yeah. So we get a flashback to the day Bison destroyed her village, which, if I remember the movie, was a Tuesday.
What?
Do you not know the quote?
No.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
That just makes me think of that China Beach quote.
The what?
But so you know Jenny Nicholson's Vampire Diaries video.
I still haven't gotten around to watching it. It's a long video.
What?
No, wait.
I've
No.
watched it like 7
No,
times.
I have watched it.
Okay.
I forgot.
Well, you know that a big part of that video is China Beach.
I don't remember that part, though. What is it?
China Beach is like an old, not sitcom, like a war drama show, basically, from like the 70s, I want to say. And like she kept, I don't think it's from the 70s, but like the 80s or something. And her viewing experience of the Vampire Diaries was full of commercials for China Beach. So her video was full of cutting to that commercial.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that part. What was the quote from that then?
It's something like,
In Iowa, he's your brother.
Here, he can be just another spent shell.
Wow. Oh, I want us to watch the Street Fighter movie on this show eventually, because
I thought you were going to say you want us to watch Vampire Diaries.
it's not... Is it based on a video game?
It is. Well, there's a video game based on it.
Oh, maybe for April Fools then. No, that the Street Fighter movie is not very good, but Raul Julia as Bison, and that quote, him saying that quote is like, it's a really good quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are on Tuesday, with Bison, with Bison destroying her village.
In the nightmares of Chun-Li.
Yes, when her dad does the spin kick, the animation just cracked me up too much. I couldn't help it.
Because it's so slow.
He moves really slow, but
yeah,
but his spinning is fast, and he's moving at like an exact right angle. Like he's just being dragged across the screen with the shift key held.
Dragged slowly across the screen. He's barely making any headway.
Oh, really? It just really got me. And also,
It's
as I mentioned previously, her dad appears to be a white man. Like, I don't know. Listen.
I had the same thought. I was like, these are the two whitest people I've ever seen in a rural Chinese village.
Yeah, because Chun-Li, in the main bulk of the show, at least has, you know, she's got like a Chinese hairstyle, you know, traditional. She's got Chinese-based outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
But here in this scene, she just looks like any 90s white woman.
Yeah, she has her hair in a long ponytail.
Yeah.
It was very weird to see.
It was. I didn't think it was her. But yeah, I guess the people from this village only become Chinese at a certain age.
She hasn't hit Chinese puberty yet.
No, I would assume not. Once she's done having her flashback dreams on the plane, the gang all parachute in, except Cammy. She stays on the plane. Blanca gets stuck in a tree on the way down. That was fine.
Oh, Blanca.
It was whatever. I thought it was funny that consistently, every single time that any character is like, we should go this way, Chun-Li is like, no, that's the opposite way from where we should go.
We'll drop in here, cross this bridge, and move to the reactor from here.
No, there's no bridge there. The bridge is here.
This way?
No, this way.
Really makes the rest of the team look incompetent. Like,
It's supposed to demonstrate her familiarity with the area.
but instead, it demonstrates that the rest of the team don't do any research.
Doesn't know how to find a bridge on a map.
Yeah. She told him to go get a map, but he got a map and he can't read it.
Guile, this is a map of Brooklyn.
Like, presumably she hasn't been here since Bison, killed everybody.
Right.
So it's not like, if it's an out-of-date map that has a bridge in the wrong place, it's not like her information's going to be more up-to-date. It must be a really old map.
It's from the 1800s.
It's from the 1800s and a different country. There's this robot fight that happens, right?
Oh my god, the robot fight. What is this show?
Yeah, there's a couple different robots. The first one we just see for like a second, and then this bigger one comes out of a big door, and they fight that for a while.
Firing missiles and rockets.
Yeah, and the shot where Blanca, I guess, gets shot, and it's right before the ad break, and he's just like falling away from the camera, and there's no defined background. Pretty good. Also, I love how Guile just goes,
No!
It really made it seem like these robots were security measures installed by the power plant, and I was very confused. I was like, what rural Chinese power plant has armed robot security?
Yeah, I'm actually not clear on that. M. Bison's watching, and I don't think he's said a single line in the whole show so far.
No, he's just showed up and been ominous.
He's just sitting there silently, expressionlessly watching everything happening on screens.
Those darn kids, they're taking out all my cameras.
So they get like locked in a room that starts filling with gas or something, right?
Yeah, apparently.
And Guile is like, use your spin kick, and Chun-Li's like, I can't, and then he's just like, do it, and she's just like, okay.
Chun-Li, use your whirlwind kick.
But I can't sustain it.
What happened to the strongest woman in the world?
Spinning bird kick!
Yeah, there's no explanation given for why she can't. And then she sustains a flying spin kick for like a solid minute.
Yeah, and blows all the gas away.
She turns into a tornado.
Yeah. That is so this show, though. Just like, I can't. Please. Okay. So many of the conflicts in this show are resolved with no explanation.
Yeah, so many of the conflicts are introduced with no explanation.
What this show is teaching children is that if you just insist enough, people will change their minds very quickly.
Only if you have a cool Guile haircut.
I had forgotten about Guile's whole like no guns policy in the first episode until he grabs that guy's gun and just like steps on it to pieces.
That didn't even really register to me. I'd forgotten about his policy.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
No guns, but I will blast energy at you from my arms.
Yeah. So that's just his God-given right to sonic boom. Chun-Li does a lot of fireballs in this episode. I didn't know that she did fireballs.
I was gonna ask. I don't know that she had a ranged attack like that.
Should I look up a Chun-Li move list? Because I know that Guile has sonic boom. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, Ken and Ryu have Hadouken.
Yeah, and Shoryuken.
Yeah.
My personal favorite. I find it more fun to say than Hadouken.
Yeah, because it has Ryu and Ken in it, and some guy named Sho.
She has Kikoken, which is a ki blast, and it is blue like her fireballs were in this, but it's not called fireball.
Oh, but because it's the 90s, they couldn't go with like a ki blast because nobody would understand.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. So they just call it a fireball.
It does look like it's used colloquially.
What do you mean?
Like people in Reddit threads referring to it as the fireball.
Oh, okay.
But knowing it's the Kikoken.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we were calling it fireball in English back then. I could believe it. There's a lot of odd translations that happened.
I don't believe it.
Okay, well. So they get to the room that they think Bison is holed up in. But he ain't there.
Just his face a lot of times.
Yeah. Had he, like, smashed one of the monitors? I can't remember.
Something happens, the monitor gets smashed, and Guile gets all angry. Oh, Chun-Li blasts it with her Kikoken.
Okay. Guile insists that there's nothing to worry about. He says,
It's a bluff. He blows the reactor, he gets nothing. And if he's here, he goes up with us.
Yeah, why would he
reason.
think that Bison was in the building?
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that. But what I thought was really funny is that it turns out he's completely wrong on like all of these fronts.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Bison is perfectly cool to blow up the place, as we'll see later.
Because he's not inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Chun-Li gets way too hung up on revenge, and Guile has to give her a little talking to about it. And then they have this whole thing where they're all like running down corridors.
I guess they're looking for Bison.
So Chun-Li finds him, and Guile and Blanca lose contact with her. And then Blanca is just like,
I'll meet you there.
and I was like, where? What do you mean?
Not only that, but this process of them losing contact with Chun-Li takes place within like 15 seconds. She doesn't respond to Guile immediately, and he's like, oh, Blanca, it's because she's gone to find M. Bison. There's no other reason she would be quiet this long.
Yeah, and he really was just like,
Chun-Li, do you see the chamber yet? Chun-Li! Chun-Li, respond!
meanwhile, she's like fumbling with her walkie.
Right?
Stop calling me! There's no established, like, where she is. So the fact that they're just like... Guile is like, I can't get in touch with her and I have no idea where she is. And then Blanca's like, okay, I'll meet you there.
I guess we're to assume that they were at like a 3-way corridor and they all had to pick one.
Okay, that would... if they're like, all right, she's gone silent, so he must be where she went. That would make sense. I kind of assumed they were... I don't know why, but I kind of assumed they were all just randomly running around various corridors.
Like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't understand why a power plant has corridors like this.
Or security robots.
Yeah. Chun-Li finds Bison and I guess buries him under a pile of rubble. And then she shouts, Yatta!
Yatta!
Which is very weird to me for a multitude of reasons. I never really considered it in the game because the game's Japanese and I knew the game was Japanese. So her saying something Japanese was fine to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really weird to me that they had her say something in Japanese in this American show. And also, like, she's not Japanese.
No.
If it's already once removed from the Japanese, there's nothing Japanese about this show. You know, I can understand her saying yatta in Street Fighter, which is a Japanese game. But in this American show, why not have her say something Chinese if you want to? I guess they're just referencing the game, but it really highlighted the strangeness to me of this Chinese girl having a Japanese victory quote. It's something that never occurred to me when it's the games, but you put it in this American show and suddenly it feels wrong.
Right. I just thought that it felt wrong because she's supposed to be the strongest woman in the world, and she whiffed like so many attacks on Bison.
Well, she's the strongest woman in the world.
He does make a point of saying that, yes.
You know, sexism it's the 90s. We haven't beaten it yet.
It's still alive and well.
Did you also think that Bison died and became a ghost for a second?
No, I did not.
I didn't, because he just like pops up out of the rubble and he's transparent now. And everyone reacts to this in a way, they didn't seem as shocked by it as I felt like they should. And then it was the commercial break. And it's not until we come back from the act break that they explain that he was a hologram. And I was like, oh.
Right.
He's not
but
a ghost.
They already knew.
Yeah, they knew, but they didn't tell us.
It's like, oh, obviously Bison was a hologram the whole time. Duh. That's a normal thing that happens.
I just thought his ghost came out.
His ghost came out.
I thought she killed him, and he's a ghost now.
No, I did not think that he died and turned into a ghost.
I mean, I didn't think that he would be permanently dead.
But he would suck the ghost back up and he would be healthy again.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought was going on. I was very confused. Oh, this is where so before the episode, we were trying to figure out exactly where it was that Guile recites the Street Fighter code. Apparently it's here. Apparently I did write that down and I just forgot.
You just forgot to write what the actual code was?
No, I didn't forget. I didn't have time. There was a lot happening.
So it's after the commercial break?
Yes. It's right after they explain that he was a hologram, I guess.
Discipline, justice, commitment. The Street Fighter Code of Honor.
Discipline, justice, commitment. Well, Guile, how's that work out with that ex-girlfriend of yours?
He's still committed.
I guess he is.
We saw him longing over that photo.
He's committed. She just doesn't know that. Some of the things I've written down here, I don't remember what they mean. So, I've written Chun-Li is cool with the place exploding.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was in reference to?
At this point in the story, Chun-Li is more obsessed with revenge, so she doesn't care if everybody else dies if that means she could get Bison.
That's right. Yeah, Guile reminds her about the village and she's like, everyone good died a long time ago anyway.
Right!
We've got to get that detonator. The whole area could blow.
Good riddance. My father's the only one who cared about the village. Everyone abandoned him when Bison showed up.
Chun-Li, get your head on straight.
Everyone else sucks. My dad died and I moved out.
Next, I've written Cammy does something.
Yeah, I was a little unclear what was going on here too. They're using Cammy and her jet to scan for something.
Is this where she comes down out of the jet and does a spinning drill kick at the door so they can go in?
Not just yet. She's still in the jet right now. I think they're looking for the detonation charges or something, and they're using the fancy jet radio. Okay, here she is. Now she's come out of the jet, and she's running into a hail of lasers so that she can drill kick a robot.
Okay.
Cammy, what are you doing? Are you nuts?
And now, suddenly, without fanfare, here's Zangief.
Yeah!
He's
for no reason.
For no reason, it's Zangief.
And then he's in one scene.
Yes! In fact, my final note in this list of notes is what happened to Zangief. That was my final thought watching this episode. Zangief is here. Guile immediately kicks him into a wall, and we just never see him again. He's just never addressed again.
He killed him. He's dead.
Zangief is played by Michael Donovan, who is an old friend of ours.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
Eggplant Wizard.
Yeah!
Dimitri in Darkstalkers. And Kuros in The Power Team. I think he was the Warlock guy. The Power Team is the show with the tomato guy and the...
I thought so, but I can't remember a Warlock.
Yeah, well, he had 3 lines.
Okay.
He was a member of the team. My main memory of him is that when he first appeared, he gave a lot of exposition about the villain from his game, who was not in the episode.
Oh, you mean the barbarian guy?
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, I guess he's a barbarian. You're right.
That's the exact opposite of a warlock.
It's not the culinary opposite. So Chun-Li and Bison have a fight, and I love his line,
"What does it take to stop you?"
It's a pretty good line.
It is.
Here's the thing that didn't make any sense to me, right? Bison says he's got the detonator for the bombs. She says that she could attack the fuel thing on his jet that he's about to escape in. And it would blow up, taking him out as well. So he would die. And then he says, if you kill me, you can't get the detonator. And she makes the moral choice not to kill him so that she can get the detonator. And then he tosses her the detonator. And then she just stands there and lets him go.
Instead of attacking his fuel tank.
It's like he's given you the detonator and he hasn't left yet. You could do the thing right now.
Listen, she has her principles.
Well, he kept his word, so I guess I have to let him go free to do more crimes.
Does not Sonic do that every single time Eggman escapes?
Yeah, but not for... Sonic wouldn't kill Eggman anyway.
Do you think Chun-Li would kill Bison?
I think she wanted to, and probably should have. It's a the thing is, with Sonic, that's his, moral code. He doesn't even believe in
it's
imprisoning
Chun-Li's
people.
moral code.
Chun-Li's moral code is to kill Bison.
She's just overcome with revenge. It's not characteristic of her.
I don't know. I think Bison is dead now, canonically. No, I think he's about to come back.
As a ghost from a pile of rubble?
I don't know. I saw somebody saying something about, like, they think that the new season of Street Fighter 6 is going to bring Bison back from the dead. I didn't even know he was dead.
No.
But I don't keep up with Street Fighter lore. I've never known. I had Street Fighter 2. I guess there was a story. I never knew what it was.
That's how I feel about all fighting games. I try so hard to follow the story, and I can't.
I was the same with Street Fighter 4. I had that too. And I really liked the anime cutscenes that every character's ending had, so I beat the game with every character so I could watch their anime cutscene. The only thing I could tell you is that Ken has a child. That's all I picked up about Street Fighter lore from that game. So yeah, Chun-Li, everyone shows up on the roof and asks Chun-Li what happened. And she says,
I had Bison, but I chose to let him go.
And yeah, that is what happened. She had him. He gave her the detonator. She could have done anything, and she just stood there looking at the ground while he flew away.
She saved China.
She's not Mulan.
She could be.
She could be if we let her. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure in the Street Fighter movies, she was played by the same actress as Mulan.
See? It all comes full circle.
Yeah, I guess it does. What happened to Zangief? My number one question.
He's still in the wall.
They're trying to pry him out with a crowbar.
Sir, you're too big and beefy. We can't extract you from this wall.
I feel bad for Zangief fans because I know that Zangief is not supposed to be a villain, but they just keep making him a villain in everything.
Even in Wreck-It Ralph.
I know. That's how I learned. I didn't know. I don't know like which Street Fighter characters are heroes and villains that well. But I know from the like discourse around Wreck-It Ralph because people were mad that he was at the bad guy meeting because he's not supposed to be a bad guy. But they just always make him a bad guy, and I think it's just because he's Russian.
Yeah, he's a big scary Russian man. Yeah. With intimidating chest hair.
So America just constantly makes him a villain. Poor guy. Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki right now. Alignment, good.
Good! Poor Zangief.
Oh, Zangief, everybody keeps doing you so dirty. I like Zangief.
Me too. Who doesn't love Zangief?
I know, right?
He's so ridiculous.
You know what my other burning question is?
Is it regarding a legacy?
It's not regarding a legacy, but there is a legacy for us to talk about afterwards. But I have another burning question first.
Yeah?
This is the Street Fighter cartoon show.
Yes.
The main character of the Street Fighter series
is Blanca.
Might as well be. Where's Ryu?
He's been in more episodes.
Where is Ryu? I get that this show is focusing on Guile because it's an American show and they think that the kids want to see Guile. Nobody gives a shit about Guile.
No, Guile's boring.
Where's Ryu and Ken, the Scooby and Shaggy of our cast?
Even as the Scooby and Shaggy, they're more interesting.
Yeah, I miss them. I really thought they'd be in every episode with the way they were introduced.
Just being goofy?
Just being a member of the team, yeah. I thought they would just be the permanent comic relief of the team. But they are the only characters from the first episode who don't appear in this one.
It seems like Guile has to assemble a roster at the beginning of every episode.
It does seem like that.
So when Escher's like, you know who you should bring? And it was Chun-Li. But in the first episode, it was Ken and Ryu. And Guile's like, not these two.
Yeah, he did take Chun-Li as well.
He did.
I wonder who the next one will be.
Dulcim.
Well, what did you think of this episode?
Not much.
No, wasn't very good.
No, your mom didn't like it.
My mom didn't like. I don't know. Mom doesn't tend to make statements like that she doesn't like things. She tends to only.
Right.
She's a very like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And she didn't say much.
She got eerily quiet.
My mom was visiting while I was doing this, so she's gone now. But she watched the episode with me, which is why my notes are on paper this week and aren't as detailed as they often are. But yeah, she when we sat down to watch it, she asked what it was, and I said it's Street Fighter, and she said, "Oh, I know Street Fighter. I used to play that." She specifically said that Joe doesn't like playing Street Fighter with her because she always beats him just by mashing buttons. But then I put the episode on and we started watching it, and she said, "Oh, I must have been thinking of something else because this isn't what I thought Street Fighter was." And I just kind of left it. I was like, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she was thinking of something else. She clearly described a fighting game when she said she wins by button mashing.
Mhm.
But I thought, it could be Mortal Kombat. I don't think she'd like Mortal Kombat.
No, it's a little too violent.
Yeah, it's a bit too much of a killing game, as she calls them. But
we didn't get to play any killing games with her.
we didn't, but we will, I'm sure, eventually. At the end, I showed her my Ryu amiibo, and then she was like, that's the game I was thinking of. And I was like, yeah, this show was based on that game. She had no idea.
But they're so similar.
Do you want to know about the legacy?
I am actually very curious.
Because I've got something.
Yeah, like what could it be?
Oh, I've got something. You know those two robots?
Yes.
You know the first one that we barely saw, even for a second?
Yes.
That robot went on to appear on the Street Fighter character encyclopedia. Which we
Why?
talked about that last time because Guile's ex-girlfriend from this show also appears in it.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's in the Street Fighter 5 character encyclopedia. I'm going to send you the artwork of it. Very faithful to how it looked in this show. Better drawn,
Yeah.
but...
Looking somewhat bug-like.
Yeah. It's now called the Hell 3000, apparently. It didn't have a name in this show.
Okay.
And according to the website, Hell 3000 is a battle armor M. Bison had secretly been developing overseas, and an unknown organization has been working with Shadowloo to run test operations with the robot. It is remotely controlled and is stationed at a base in China. The robot's main job is working security for the base and removing intruders. So, it sounds like they're referencing the episode by saying it's stationed at a base in China. They're also referencing the show by saying he'd been secretly developing it overseas, like the show was.
Yeah.
But I don't know
So
why.
Nuclear power plant really does just have security robots.
But they're also made by M. Bison.
I told you it was his nuclear power plant.
Or maybe he just sold the power plant its security robots, like Eggman does.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very plausible. Not like him building a nuclear power plant.
I do like the idea that he just broke into his own power plant.
Well, see, the monkeys that work there, they don't know.
They don't know who owns it.
The science monkeys, they don't know who the higher ups are.
What if they do? And he just busted in there with a bunch of guys, and the regular security are like, "Oh no! Wait, boss."
He's got pantyhose over his face, pretending it's not him, but he's still wearing the same outfit.
Yeah, including the hat.
Including the glowing eyes.
And it's basically transparent.
Yeah. That's how it happened in my mind.
He doesn't say anything. He just...
I mean, he didn't in the show.
No, exactly. He just struts in. Nobody watched the Street Fighter animated series. We watched it so you don't have to. No, you should watch it, actually. There's a lot that's really funny about this show, but not because it's trying to be.
There was a scene in one of the many confrontations between Chun-Li and Bison where it shows a shot of Chun-Li and Cammy's leg is in the background, and then like a full minute later, Cammy and Blanca and Guile appeared at the end of the hallway. They've just caught up to her.
I want to know who else is going to be in this show. Like, can we expect to see everybody?
I hope so.
Is E. Honda going to show up?
If he doesn't, I will personally be enraged.
Yeah, me too. He's one of my favorites.
E. Honda's great.
We'll come back to this.
We'll be back, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
I didn't say it. It didn't happen.
So I'm
Stop.
call it forever now.
You're a street farter.
How dare you? How dare you turn this back around on me?
You're trying to divert our attention away from the fact that it is you who farts these streets.
I got the street beat. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you to our patrons, Jamie Core and Mark Kelly.
Whoa, thanks.
We love you
Deeply.
You can join them in being loved by us by going to patreon.com/Super Breakfast Friends Club. And, you know, you can join as a free member. You can join as a paid member. Just join as a member.
Just show up. We invited you to our party. Please come.
There's pizza, but it's not for you.
You can watch us eat it.
There's special dietary requirements on this pizza, and it's that I eat all of it.
It's true, he won't even let me come close to it.
You got the ice cream. Don't be greedy.
Oh, I already ate all the ice cream.
Coffee.com/Super Breakfast Friends Club also exists. And you can find me on Blue Sky, or on My Name is Skull Pirate Mike, and I do stuff with my fingers. That sounded
Ooh.
weird. I meant I typed things. But you know, for the right price.
I'm like pointing a direction.
I could point you to the nuclear power plant.
Please don't blow it up.
Is there anything else?
No.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you are tired, huh?
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm struggling.
I've had an exhausting week. I've been on 4 planes this week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's too many planes.
I've been
Wait.
trying to do.
No, I've been on 2 planes. But it felt like 4.